found a tube, and the minute I opened it, the smell transported me through time.
This one's wife. Harry who? The disappearing prince. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You all know who Prince Harry is. After all, he features fairly frequently in the videos that I make, but you knew of Harry before I started talking about him because you knew that he was a member of the British royal family, the most famous royal family on the planet. You were aware of his existence because he's the child of Charles and Diana, and perhaps many of you became aware of the existence of Harry following the death of Diana in 1997, where thereafter he was seen with William walking behind his mother's coffin. Harry has featured prominently in the press as he has grown older and, upon reaching adulthood, and even greater his exposure when he married this one's wife. Prior to her appearance, you knew about him because of the various patronages that he held, the charitable work that he undertook, his career in the army, possibly his involvement with Invictus, and notably his reputation for being the fun prince, the playboy prince, less serious than William, who had the mantle of becoming the King of England on his shoulders, whereas Harry could be more carefree. You may have known about his various relationships with the likes of Chelsea Davy and Cressida Bonus. But then matters altered with the arrival of someone called, and I'll say her name at this point, Meghan Markle. Hitherto, when she appeared, you'd have asked, Meghan who? Who's this person then? A small number of people, and it was a small number of people, irrespective of what she thinks as a consequence of her deluded mindset, knew about her because of her appearance in Suits. But the vast majority of people had no idea who she was. But they soon got to know. Because once she had become Harry's girlfriend, was engaged to him, and then married to him, her prominence skyrocketed. Initially, they were seen often together. The engagement interview, for example. They undertook a royal tour in Australia and Fiji. They went to South Africa together. They did various appearances, the two of them. She undertook some solo charitable work, but they were often seen together. And then Archie came along, and they were seen together again. And then Megxit occurred, and they departed together. And they went to Canada, and then they moved to California together. But then this one's wife started to step away from Harry. There was what was referred to as the professional separation, where she was undertaking events on a solo basis with Harry nowhere to be seen, and Harry was undertaking events with this one's wife nowhere to be seen. We saw also, in relation to the publication of Spare, where it was clear that she had a hand in what was the content of that publication, that she then kept well away from its promotion. The reason being, as I've explained in a video of 2 years ago, that she simply threw Harry under the bus because of the adverse consequences that were arising from the content of this publication, and in typical narcissist style, she sidestepped any blame or accountability, allowing Harry to cop for it. Thus, there was a period of time where she appeared to step away from Harry. This as part of the sustained devaluation that he has experienced as a person who has been ensnared by a narcissist. For those of you who remain unfamiliar with that dynamic, she seduced him, embedded him as the intimate partner primary source. During those 2 stages, Harry was in the golden period, which is why he was drawn in and captured in the first place. And then thereafter, there followed the sustained devaluation, which always happens when you have the dynamic between a narcissist and the intimate partner primary source, a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, cohabitee. During this sustained devaluation, Harry is subjected to devaluing behaviours which manifest in lots of different ways. But there are two distinct patterns that have emerged during this. In his sustained devaluation, he does receive respite periods where the golden period is reinstated, and he essentially gets the good stuff once again. However, during the sustained devaluation and all of the day-to-day devaluations that have occurred, for example, giving him a silent treatment, insulting him, shouting at him, triangulating him, and so on and so forth. Initially, this one's wife stepped back from her involvement with him, but now it has taken another form, whereby she has overtaken him. Consider this. When she undertook the crappy podcast, Archetypes, Harry was meant to be doing it with her, but she was the one that hosted it. He made one cameo appearance. When she did the equally shit podcast for Lemonada, Harry was nowhere to be seen. It was all about her. She has made appearances on other podcasts, for instance, with Jamie Three Names, and with the recent appearance where she continued to talk about herself. Harry made some limited appearances some time ago, for instance, with Dr. Gabor Mate, but he hasn't been seen on any form of podcast for quite a long time. This one's wife had her with Love Meghan series. Harry made a brief cameo appearance towards the end. She has returned to Instagram. Harry occasionally appears in a video or in a picture, but for the most part, it's all about her. She has been undertaking certain personal appearances without him, for instance, turning up at the hair product opening or the bookshop appearance. There still remains, of course, the occasional joint appearance for Invictus, because that benefits her, going to New York together, the attendance at the concerts, although she takes the lead there. But for the most part, she is the one that is prominent. She is the one that is doing things. She is the one that is seen. And yet Harry is the true-blooded prince. He was the one that was born in the royal family, and she married in. She is only known because of who she married, hence this one's wife. And yet, if you were to look upon them, you would be forgiven for thinking, where has Harry gone to? What does he do these days? How does he fill his day? He's meant to have some involvement with Travelist and Better Up, but one can't imagine that occupies him. Is he writing a book? Probably not. He isn't operating a lifestyle brand. He's not creating content. He is not uploading things to social media. He might, for instance, be involved with the children, or he might just spend his days bumming around. Surf's up, dude, wandering down to the beach, smoking a big blunt. It's his life. He can choose what to do. But what is interesting, and it is part of the narcissistic dynamic, is that he has become the disappearing prince, that she has eclipsed him. I don't mean in terms of her being better than him or more successful than him. I just mean in terms of prominence. And this is typical of the narcissist. She finds Harry. She ensnares Harry. She utilizes Harry, portraying the idyllic lifestyle together. She then distances herself from him to avoid collateral damage for herself, and then she overtakes and eclipses him. There is no equality with a narcissist. The narcissist must always come first. She does not consider the fact that were it not for Harry, she would be a nobody. This is because in her mind, she is always a somebody. But the fact that we don't see as much of Harry, and one wonders what he does with his time all day because we see so much of this one's wife, is demonstrative of the way that she has taken hold of a prince, squeezed him, drawn out of him what she requires, and then has decided, I'm the one that comes first, you are just in the background. We've seen this many times in the way that she barges in front of him, relegates him to a secondary position, talks over him, interrupts him. But now it's become more so with regard to ensuring that she's taken hold of that spotlight, that super trooper, and has ensured that it's focused and illuminating her, with Harry just lurking in the shadows, occasionally allowed into the spotlight at her say-so. This is typical behaviour of the narcissist and is demonstrative of her sense of entitlement, her lack of accountability for her behaviours, her fixation on success, her grandiosity, her desire to be seen, the necessity of being seen to assist with the assertion of control and the drawing of fuel. The lack of boundary recognition in the way that she doesn't see it as an equal partnership. She'll say that, but she doesn't truly believe that. And instead, how she has trampled all over Harry as his status as a prince and utilised it for her own purposes, ensuring that she comes first and he becomes the disappearing prince. Once again, the current dynamic between these two individuals is explained by reference to her narcissism. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.